Nothing makes me laugh more than when I hear brokers who say, I left England to avoid paying tax. But your company's still keeping 50% of your money. Your company's still keeping 50%, or maybe you're on 60-40. Maybe your company's keeping 40% of your money. Obscene. You know, why are you allowing your company to keep 50% of your money?
I know, it's absolutely insane, isn't it? Because brokers look at the fact that they're getting paid 50%, but they're not.
No.
They're paying the company 50%.
Exactly.
So why leave a 40% tax rate on your salary in the UK or America, or wherever you're from,
to come over here
and pay more
and allow your company to keep 40% of your money? Bonkers. It's
supposed to be tax-free over in Dubai.
I get it. Companies have got to make a profit. I get it. But you're letting your boss keep 50% of your money. Why? Because
they claim to be covering a lot of expenses. But all they're doing is buying more properties themselves, going on more holidays.
If you're a junior broker, like you've just arrived in Dubai, I get it. I think the whole 50-50 model is okay. I think it's okay, yeah. If you're a junior broker and you need hand-holding.
Yeah. Some people need the help that maybe earns the 50%.
Well, you're paying to learn, aren't you?
To an extent, you're letting your company keep half of the money because they're going to give you training, they're going to give you support, tools.
Or so they say.
Maybe. But I understand the logic. I call out, and I find it borderline pathetic when I speak to a broker who's been in the industry for sort of 6 months or more. They know how to do a deal. They already know how to do a deal. They know how to list a property. They know how to do a viewing. And they're still on that 50-50 model. Ridiculous. You are getting ripped off.
Absolutely. And too many brokers are there thinking that they can't leave because the grass isn't greener.
Yeah, it really is.
And it really is very green.
There's another point to it. You get a massive conflict of interest because managers at those companies, they might be on a monthly target, but the broker might have like a quarterly target. So they need to achieve, like in some companies, you've got to do X amount for 4 consecutive months to get to the next level. You've got to jump through certain hurdles. But if they go to their manager, who they need help with to close the deal maybe, the manager will try and close it into that month that maybe they don't need.
Sandbagging.
But they then stop going to the manager for the help they need, and then less deals get done. So it's all backwards.
But also, touch point of what you just said there is they will have to do 3 or 4 consecutive months of hitting targets before they get a pay rise. What do they get a pay rise to? 55%. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're still letting your company keep 45% of your money.
And they're a senior.
Why?
Senior. Why? Absolutely insane.
How are you finding it? I mean, you joined us as, I can't even remember what your title, general manager, superstar. What was your?
I think it started as T-boy.
I don't know. But you're now a part. By the way, big shout out to Nate.
Yeah.
Now a company owner.
Yes.
You put your money where your mouth is. Good on you. And you deserve that recognition. But how are you finding it?
Thank you. Yeah, really, really rewarding. It's unbelievable how well the brokers do when they're taken out of that sort of almost school structure. Not every broker. Some brokers need to be told to go to work and whatever. But our brokers they're all business people. They're all mature adults.
But I don't mean the broker. I mean you. You're now a company owner. How are you finding it?
I love it. I think I'm fortunate that I gather a bit of respect within the company anyway because I've done the job that they're all doing, and I think I can help them.
You've also been in the industry for 15 for a long time. People know who you are.
Very old. Yeah.
People know who you are. You know, and you're getting paid a lot more money now.
Yeah, it's good to have that recognition. It's good.
Brushing that under the carpet. Do you see that?
Yeah, of course. Because I get my buzz now from watching other people be successful.
Yeah.
You know, when the new people come in and join us, and there's always that transition period. And when they smash it in their first month and they send you a message saying thanks for your help, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, I bet people who are guiding people at these bigger companies, I bet they don't get those thank yous. I bet they're not helping everyone be as successful. And we're in a great position where we get to do that every day. And I think we've got a really good mix between the three of us of how we operate the company.
Yeah.
Well, one of the differences with us is a lot of these companies, you've got the carrot and the stick, haven't you? And the corporates, the high street models, They're not doing it the way we're doing it. So the managers are spending so long in their day beating the junior brokers. You must do so many viewings per day. You must do this. You must do that. We don't have any KPIs, do we? The broker's only KPI is their bank account.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. Experienced brokers know they need to do so many listings to get so many offers, to get so many deals and money in their pockets. So we don't need to bang that drum. They need to be actually just out in the field, meeting clients. If they're in the office all day, every day, they're not making money.
Yeah.
And so that's why our model works. So they can have the freedom to be out, to be meeting clients. If they want to, like Fruz does, for example, and parties till 2 a.m. With his clients. But that's how he does deals.
And what did he take home last month?
1.5 million dirhams.
Yeah. Senior, heavyweight brokers all in one.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we told Farouz or look at some of our Sarah Sinclair, Ryan, or, heavyweight brokers. Can you imagine if I said to them, "Oh, you've got to be in at 9 o'clock every day."
And be in the office until 6.
Yeah,
be in the office until 6. And if you're not in the office, then you have to put in the office diary where you are. That's pathetic.
It's pathetic if you're a senior broker.
Yes.
I think if you're a 21-year-old, 22-year-old surrounded by junior brokers, I think it's okay. But yeah, once you've been doing this job 6 months, 12 months, and you know how to do the job, you don't need to be micromanaged. If you're being micromanaged and your company is keeping 40% of your money, Give us a call. There's a plug for Phoenix, isn't there?
Exactly, but it's also the quality of life that people get. It's not always about the clients. Some people bounce out of bed. They want to go to the gym at 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, take the kids to school, pick them up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then go back to the job and have flexible hours and still do the deals, but work to their pace and their hours. And it works on our model because we're not telling people they have to be in the office at certain times because we trust them. We know they're going to be working hard because they've got the responsibility to pay their bills or buy their next property or buy their car or their holidays or look after family. They've got those options with us because they're getting so much more income.
Nath, the whole market right now is booming.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that's helped with our recent growth boom that we've experienced internally?
Yeah, I think there's a hell of a lot of brokers out there that have recognised that while the market is so buoyant, the old saying is make hay while the sun shines. Yeah. So why not grab a bigger piece of that pie whilst that is happening? Yeah. And I think that's the single most important thing. Everyone is here for their own reasons. Some people will be here for 20 years like us, or some people will be here for 5 years and then go back to their home countries.
Yep.
Martin, you are the figures guru. Percentages off-plan versus secondary last year, 2024.
Better than ever. Last year, it was very much 50-50. It was a position where we had a lot of developments coming online across the markets. But what brokers really benefited with our company is we got some exclusive floors. We sold well over 20 units in Sky Hills 1. And the Science Park. We sold again well over 20 units and we got 2 exclusive floors in Vanguard and Dubai Marina. And look at most recently in Sports City, we got a whole building exclusive. That's massive. And we're just growing and growing with our off-plan department headed by Shah.
Shout out Shah.
Yeah, absolute massive shout out.
Legend.
And so much off-plan's so infectious that even this man here has bought half of Jumeirah Golf Estates this year.
Dum.
Yeah, it's not my usual thing, is it? Buying off-plan?
Absolutely not. Never seen it before.
For those of you that are out there, but I think because I've been doing it so long, I moved over here in 2006. I've always been quite anti off-plan. For me, if I can't see it and feel it and touch it, I don't want to buy it. And it's only been in the last sort of year. I wouldn't say I've bought half of Jumeirah Golf Estates, but I think I think the market is a lot more mature now. As an investor, you're more secure. So perhaps I have taken my blinkers off a little bit.
Well done, you.
A little bit. Not fully. But no, the off-plan team has boomed, isn't it?
It really, really has. And there are so many. What I love as well is the brokers are helping each other. So the various different groups that we have within the company, and somebody says, "Oh, I've got this investor wanting this particular product. Can you recommend this or that, or a contact person?" So there's so much swapping of information within the company with but it just generates more and more revenue for the brokers.
Let's stay on off-plan because we haven't spoken about that. And I think most people know us as the guys with the 80-20 model, but we haven't actually explained our off-plan 70-30
That's
model.
right, we haven't.
And let's clear that up. I mean, Nath, take it. Tell us about our off-plan department.
So yeah, I mean, it was born really 3+ years ago when, under Martin's guidance, I set up the off-plan WhatsApp group for our existing brokers, just to be fed the details about all the projects. Fast forward 3 years later, one of our best off-plan agents that we've ever had is now heading up a department.
Yeah, but elaborate. I mean, our off-plan department is not an 80-20 model. It's 70-30. It's 70-30, which is different. Most people know us as the 80-20 guys. Explain it for those of you that don't know.
It's still industry leading in the same way our 80-20 is. We still offer the best options out there. The reason it's 70 and not 80 is because we provide all the leads.
Okay, so if I'm an off-plan broker at the moment in one of the larger companies, why would I want to come and work for you in the off-plan team?
Some of them have, purely because the leads they get where they are calling up the database of secondary buyers.
Love that.
There's no...
So the company's not spending any money at all, but they're keeping 50%.
And these are the bigger companies.
Great.
So, and they get 50%.
Yeah.
It's not even 65 or 70. It's 50% with no leads.
So they've got to generate the buyer themselves. Then they take that buyer down to the developer, which any broker can do. And then they've got to let the company keep 50% of the money.
Insane.
How does that work?
Exactly. So by providing them pre-qualified leads and giving them 70%, allowing them to do their own campaigns on top of everything that we do, they can be even more self-sufficient, and it's 70% on every single deal.
So flat 70%, and you'll give me leads every day. I like it.
Absolutely. And they have team meetings, they go to briefings. It now makes us more powerful when it comes to getting, buildings exclusives, because we've got a powerful team. The exclusive that we recently won, we said, give us 2 weeks on your project.
Yeah,
and we sold 35% of it in 2 weeks. So we kept the exclusivity.
I love what we did with Vanguard. And the reason why, I think we sold 22 or 23 units in Vanguard, and we smashed much larger companies. We won't say who, but there's much bigger agencies than us, who might have 200 or 300 brokers. We've only got 60. And we sold double what they did. It shows you the caliber of broker that works at Phoenix. So much better, so much more experienced, with their own pool of investors.
I was just going to say the same thing. They are running their own campaigns, getting new leads, knowing how to close those leads, but they've already got their pool of existing investors. So whilst they're at another company that maybe don't encourage off-plan because they're set up for secondary, they've got this pool of investors that they're just burning. They're not doing anything with. They'll sell a house for them, but they won't sell something to them again.
Goes back to that value for money, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
If you're a broker and your company every day is giving you brand new buyers, brand new exclusive sellers, then I think the 50-50 model is okay. But if they're not, if you're having to generate your own clients and you're letting your company keep 50% of the money, it's a joke. You're getting ripped off.
How many times do they actually give them any leads in the first place?
I'm sure there's a couple of good companies out there.
Very rarely, I think.
Why don't you say what you really think, Mark?
That's what this is for, right?
But Martin's here.
No, I mean, I've always... I don't hate the 50-50 model at all. And I genuinely believe there is a place for it in the market. But it comes down to value for money. If my boss was to take 50% of my money, I'm okay with that. But every day I want brand new buyers, exclusive listings. That's okay. That's fair. So the 50-50 model is fine. But if you're telling me that I've got to generate my own listings, and then share it with the company, no, it's a ripoff. It's a ripoff.
Exactly.
If you're a broker out there and that's happening and you are getting paid 50 or 60%, you're getting ripped off.
One thing that's in common with every single broker that joins us, they're all generating their own leads, their own deals, and having to give away either
well,
half.
They were.
Yes, they were, because they're now with us. But they were giving away 50% or at best 40% of their commission, and for closing their own deals without getting any leads from those companies, which is the majority of brokers in Dubai.
Totally.
And that's a fact. Nath, question for you.
Yes.
What's your vision for 2025? Where do you see us in 12 months' time?
Probably needing a bigger office.
Yes.
I would suspect. I'd like to see continued...
Good problem to have, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see continued growth on both sides of the company, so the secondary market and the off-plan team. I mean, realistically, whilst the growth is potentially endless, because we don't have 10 people in the marina team or 10 people, we don't have... We're not stuck at a certain size. We're obviously not trying to grow at those kind of rates that some of the quick, fastest growing companies are, because that isn't our style. It'd be much better for me to look back in 10 years and see most of the brokers that are with us now still with us, because we're all going to be here for that length of time. So we want to see everyone on the journey with us along that time. I'd love Phoenix to cover the broader marketplace. So we've obviously added the off-plan team. We've got lots of great partners to cover the rest of the sort of the 360 of the business model. So I'd love us to expand and be more able to help clients and cover every possibility.
A one-stop shop.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you have to rely on external people, unfortunately, we're not in control, and people can let people down. Whereas
funny that the first thing you said though was about, excluding the comment about needing a bigger office, was that we hope to still be working with the same brokers in 12 months. So you're thinking very much along the lines of staff retention. And for me, I'm with you on that completely.
But our company, if you look at our staff
we've
retention...
We've lost two people in 4 months.
And other companies have a revolving door.
Mark,
you don't get to know your colleagues.
I speak to people, company owners, who are literally losing 10 people per month.
But that's the business model.
Bonkers.
Yes.
What a disruptive environment to be in. If you're not sure if the person next to you is going to be there next week.
20% of the high street model provides 80% of the business.
What do you mean by that?
So 20% of the workforce of any 100-person company, there's 20% of them.
The 80-20 model.
Yeah, that are doing the majority of providing the majority of the money.
Yeah.
The other 80 are they're hoping that 20 of those are going to become the next seniors.
Yeah.
And it's like you say, a revolving door for the rest of it.
Yeah.
Whereas with us, obviously, look, not everyone performs every day of the week. That's completely normal. But 80% of our staff are doing
the 80-20 model, but flipped over.
But flipped.
The other thing that I take from that as well is when you've got the high street model, you've got the big dogs in that company that are ring fencing their areas. For example, you take someone who might be working in Dubai Marina who's worked there for 10 years. They've got an agreement with their company that for every single deal, they're going to get a piece of the pie. Or you might have 3 really, really strong brokers in that area where they're already dealing with 80% of the market. And those brokers aren't allowed to go outside, so that when they get a buyer, they have to go to one of their team members. With us, I don't think we've had one case in 4 years where we've had 2 brokers fighting over a listing, because brokers are free to do whatever area and whatever discipline they like. If they want to lease a property and keep their client happy, they're not having to give away a referral fee or only accept a referral fee of a paltry 10% of passing over the listing. But more importantly than the referral fee is they're damaging their relationship with their client. If they're working in Dubai Marina and their client's invariably got other properties elsewhere in Dubai, they've got something in downtown, the Palm, etc., they're not allowed to keep that client relationship. It's madness.
Yeah.
And that's how you build relationships, is to sell for somebody in this place, and this place, and this place. Or they might want to rent that property because it's not right for them to sell at that point. And our guys can do everything.
If I was a broker in today's market and my boss said to me, Myles, you are only allowed to list in one area, and I'm sorry, you have to pass that client to your colleague,
Utter madness.
I'd be gone. I mean, our 80% is nice, but honestly, I don't think it's as important as having the freedom to work in all areas. I would be gone. I would just say no. I'm on commission only. I will list wherever I want to list.
That's the biggest theme of anybody talking to us about joining, isn't it? It's not the 80%. It's
the 80% is secondary.
It's a carrot.
But I do the interview. Yeah, exactly. Yes. You asked me earlier about the interviews. No, sorry, Nath asked me about it. And when I'm interviewing people and when we get approached by people, which is a lot, keep in mind we're now rejecting more people than we're accepting. It's not the 80-20.
No.
That's nice, but it is the ability to list anywhere you like. That is more important than the 80-20.
Think of it.
Because 80% of nothing is nothing.
Absolutely.
80% is nothing. So forget what you're taking. You've got to get the deal in the first place. And to get the deal, I don't want to pass my seller over to the next broker.
The hardest bit is to build the initial relationship with
100%.
the client. You don't want to then have to set fire to it just because a 21-year-old is new to the downtown team and they're the ones that have to receive your leads.
We just sound like three grumpy old men, don't we?
We are.
We don't like 21-year. We're just jealous because we're all old.
But you think about it, we're in a customer services industry. You are not providing good customer service if you're not allowed to continue your relationship. If you go to a high street store to buy a pair of shoes and you say, oh, I'd like to look at the trousers, they will take you across to that aisle and help you because they've built the relationship. So just taking our views out of it, think of it from the customer perspective.
Yeah.
The customer's built the relationship with Mr. Myles and then he's got to go and speak to Bob, who he's never met. And then Bob's losing money already, giving away 10%, then 50%. So he's less interested to do the deal.
Yeah.
Or not only that, they might have a colleague who is not actually as good as they're supposed to be and not actually call their client back and burn the relationship because they have to pass them.
It just wouldn't happen. No. If I was a broker in that style agency right now, I would just be gone.
Yes.
It would be as simple as that. Right. For those people out there who don't know, yes, I take care mainly of the recruiting, the interviews, certainly that initial stage. Once they are a fully fledged flying phoenix, that's a tongue twister, isn't it? They are falling under your remit, you guys especially. But Nate, have you seen brokers improve? I'm not talking about what they take home, the 80-20 model. I'm talking about, have you seen them flourish? Have you seen brokers become stronger since they've started working with us?
100%.
Okay. What type, how, why?
It comes back to lack of trust from their previous company. So sometimes they don't come as a fully fledged agent because they're not allowed to do certain things within their company. So when they come to us, they're still learning, but nobody's been teaching them. So we have a very sort of set way that we do our training, masterclasses, whatever you want to call it, completely voluntary, completely relaxed.
Yep.
The aim of any session we do, and we run a session every single week on a different topic, the aim of any session is that anybody can come in and try and learn one thing.
Yep.
So it's not a repeat this verbatim style of learning. And the learning is not one person stood up and saying this is the way it's going to be.
Optional training sessions. Interesting.
It's an idea. Now, if you go to most of the big companies, there's no onward training.
Yep.
You get training days 1 to 5.
Yeah.
And then if you're really underperforming, you get training.
And a bollocking.
Either or. Either or, yeah. But if you're a good broker, they leave you alone.
Yeah,
you're left alone. Now, you might be a good broker, but you could improve dramatically. So, again, it comes back to a number of brokers that have come to us and have started to speak to myself and then Martin as well. And then they pick up the skills that maybe they didn't have. They were doing fine, but now they've opened up a new market. They come in as a buyer's broker.
Yep.
They never list. So we explain to them that if you list, you then, you have more control of the conversation, the deal. You open up your whole marketplace, and they do double the number of deals.
You're developing brokers.
Absolutely.
I loved seeing the training session that you guys were doing last week, and in my head, I thought to myself, I wonder if it's going to be the brokers who are not performing as well. But I looked at who had attended your training session. I mean, there are some heavy brokers that were attending. There's 3 people that I can think of. We've just done their paychecks, and they were taking home 200, 300. One of them 450,000 they took home last month, but they were still turning up for your training session. I love that.
They're not training.
You can never stop learning.
Yeah.
They're not training. They're reminders.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate that we employ what I call work mature people. We have young brokers, but they understand that they don't know everything, and they know they can put their hand up and say, Myles, can I ask you a question? they don't assume they know everything. They don't assume that Martin won't help them.
Yep.
So that they come with open arms, and our doors are obviously always open. We don't have desks. We don't have offices. It's completely, come and bother us, as it were, so that they improve. Because at the end of the day, we only take such a small portion of
We
of it
take
home.
20% of the money.
We
Let's call it
need
as it is.
them
Yeah.
to make as much money as possible for as long as possible.
Yeah, we have to scale it up, 100%.
That's the way our business works. So we only benefit from their improved success. So I got more of a kick the other week when one of our brokers who had a bad couple of months by their standards is back smashing it again. Because that shows that they listened, they tried something new, they never gave up, and boom, they're back up the top of the charts again.
Love it.
Myles, it seems like it's only just been the new year, but it's fast approaching the summer now. What are your thoughts, plans, worries heading into the summer?
There's no worries. There's no worries at all between now and the summer. This is the time where brokers should be filling up their bank accounts. This is the most profitable period of the year. Between now and the summer is where brokers should be filling up their bank accounts. From a recruitment point of view, which is of course my part of the business, it's busy. It's busy for two reasons. Reason A is there's a lot of brokers right now who they want a larger slice of the pie. They realize they're getting ripped off and they want to make a move before the summer. And the second part of that answer is we don't restrict people, as you know, in terms of the amount of holiday that they take. So if a broker wants to go away for a month, or if a broker wants to go away for 2 months, crack on. There's so many of these other companies which limit you in you're only allowed 20 days or 30 days. That's not us. You're on commission only. If you want to go away for a month or 2 months or take the whole summer off, crack on. We will judge you we'll judge you on your results. And I think a lot of people like that about Phoenix, that we give that freedom. And I think freedom is something we should speak about in more depth, because we've spoken about the whole 80-20, the financial side of it. We've spoken about the ability to list in all areas, but we haven't spoken enough about the company culture and the ability to have that freedom. If you want to go away for the whole summer and then come back, it's fine. If you just want to sort of just focus on your exclusive listings across the summer months, that's cool. If you want to team up with somebody and get them to do your viewings for you, that's cool. We're not saying that you're only allowed 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I think it's bonkers if someone's on commission only and they're being told how much holiday they're allowed.
Absolutely. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's
ridiculous.
It's basically our model, isn't it? We're empowering them to run their own business within our business. So they do what they feel is right.
Yes.
They follow the trends. If they see something is busy, they stay.
Yeah.
If they find a quiet patch, they're not told to do more.
Yeah.
They're actually able to take advantage of that. Go away for Eid, for example. Go away for a couple of weeks in the summer, whatever they choose to do.
Especially if you've got kids.
Yes.
If you've got kids and you want to have a long summer holiday with them, crack on. Go enjoy it. We're not going to tell you when to come back. I think that's a difference, though. We are employing adults. It's not a kids club. This is not it's a very, very mature style of working. Look at our brokers. There's a lot of people in their 40s, 50s, 60s. You in your 90s. And it's a much, much, much more mature style. So holiday allowance, what time to come to the office in the morning. It's not that style of age. Sorry, I've drifted there, haven't I? So going back to your question. Freedom. Yeah, I sound like William Wallace. Yes, that is what I predict. I think a lot of people are gravitating towards us, and they will continue to gravitate towards us for as long as they are currently getting ripped off by their current employers. And I know that there's going to be a lot of company owners that don't like me for saying that, because I am rocking the apple cart, and I don't care.
Myles, you've recruited a lot of people on the 50-50 model in the past.
One or two.
Yeah. And now we're recruiting for 80-20.
Yeah.
So what do you see as the differences in the life and the day-to-day life of a broker now compared to the people you were working with before?
Brokers in our style agency are given a lot more freedom and space. So, for example, other companies that I've owned in the past, you had to be in at 9 o'clock. You had to be wearing this. You had to be making a certain number of cold calls. With us, that's not the case. So I spoke to one of our top guys this morning who had not come to the office, which is fine. He'd been he'd had a lengthy breakfast meeting with one of his clients, so he cruised in at about 11 o'clock. Cool, no issues at all. And then he said to me, I'm wrapping up today at 3:00. I'm hitting the golf course with one of his clients. Cool. We'll encourage that. So where before we might have to brokers would have had to justify that and explain that to the manager. That's not the case anymore. So I think to answer your question a bit more directly, it is that they have more space, they have more freedom. They can do whatever they like. Let's call it as it is. They can do whatever they like.
Trust.
We trust them. Absolutely. If you want to jeopardize it, then it's easy to jeopardize our model if they want to. But at the end of the day, they're only blagging themselves, aren't they?
Absolutely, because our model can invite people to do nothing. But then it goes back to what I said earlier about their KPI is their bank account. They're only giving themselves a disservice if they're not actually doing what's needed. So we don't need to be telling them where to be and at what time. Yeah. They know what they need to do themselves.
Yeah. So freedom.
Myles, the difference there, though, is you said that particular broker was having a business meeting in the morning.
I hope he was. He said to me that he was a client
and then
breakfast.
was playing golf with a client in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Now, that could be interpreted as having a lie-in and playing golf with your mates, but because he's a top earner, it's actually business and business.
Yeah.
Yes, it might be on the golf course, but that's the way of the world. Not all business is done sat in an office anymore with a suit on.
Yeah. Very much agreed.
We talk about business development, and it's not just paying for our listing.
Yeah.
Your business development is your whole operation, whether it's just speaking more about something to someone, or whether it's being in the right networking event or on the right golf course. It's all part of the bigger plan.
It goes back to nurturing those relationships. And as an investor myself, if you were working for a company, Nath, and you cold called me, and you wanted exclusivity about one of my properties, I wouldn't give you the time of the day. I wouldn't speak to you at all. If you got to know me, took me out for a dinner, perhaps hit the golf course with me, which would be quite embarrassing because I'm awful. But if you built that relationship with me, I would stick with you. And that's why I think brokers who are restricted to the office, you have to stay in the office, I think they're screwed. I think they are really in trouble. That they want to go and nurture those relationships, but their sales manager won't let them.
So they have to lie.
How ridiculous.
They have to lie.
So they're blagging it, or they're putting fake appointments in the diary.
It's a fake agent.
It's like being it's like a school, isn't it?
The market's evolved as well, hasn't it?
Do you remember that school? And you had to bunk off school. Well, maybe that was just me. But you lied, and you said, "I've got this."
That's ridiculous. And
what a negative environment to be in.
It really, really is. But the market used to be where you made so many calls per day to get so many listings. Yeah. We know listings are hard to come by these days. So you don't do it in the old-fashioned way of picking up the phone.
Yeah, those days are so
networking.
Yeah.
So if you're chained to your desk, you're not meeting clients. Yeah. Simple.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to lie to your company to do business.
But it goes back to that freedom, doesn't it? It goes back to actually empowering and trusting your staff. I look at the people who have succeeded, which is the majority of people, but I also look at there's two people that have joined us and failed. You know who I'm talking about. I won't say who they came from the high street corporate agency, and they came to us and they just said, there's too much freedom. And I get that, because everybody at interview stage says, I'm self-motivated. But when push comes to shove, that's really once they've started working, that's when you see someone's true colours. Are they turning up to the office? Are they actually turning up with a bit of self-motivation to chase a deal? Or are they going out with their mates and just laying in bed until the silly o'clock because they can? And that's where our model can be abused. And if you are a kid, if you're junior, if you're not that strong, don't join Phoenix.
But at the same time, we've got a great vibe in the office if people want to be there. We're not a company where us three are sitting there, or the support team. There's always a vibe in the mornings where there are many brokers who choose to come in because they like working with each other. They like the office environment.
They're there because they want to be there.
Exactly. Not because they're forced to.
There you go.
Precisely. But also our office is brilliant, isn't it? You've got different zones where people can sit if they want to. You've got the coffee pods so that they don't need to work from a coffee shop. They could be part of our office.
Yep.
They've got their little pods like they would have in the high street model if they want to. They can open desk like they would in a hotel foyer. There's all those possibilities where people can come in and it's inviting.
In the afternoon, though, Mark, our office is a lot more quiet than the mornings. What do you make of that?
That's as it should be.
Okay.
Because they should be out in the field. They should be conducting viewings. They should be having coffees with sellers.
Love that.
They should be potentially playing golf with a client or whatever they're going to do. Or they should be picking up their kids because they're working into the evenings.
Yep.
So be it. The office, if they're in the office, then they're not being productive enough in the field.
I saw you the other day walk up to a couple of brokers and just be like, get out. What are you doing? Go and meet your clients. Go and sit with them. What do you? Yeah, no, I subscribe to that.
Me too.
I think we all do. And I think it's really, really important that whatever your routine is, you have that routine. You have that. No one has ever been successful without work ethic and routines. It's impossible.
Well said.
You don't just wake up in the morning and go, oh, what am I going to do today? Every successful broker with us has a plan. We might not see them every day, but they have their own plan that they will stick to. I personally, we've spoken about it many times, I could never work from home.
None of us.
I have to be in an office.
Yeah.
It's impossible for me to, Netflix, this,
but it's nice that the three of us are aligned on that, and I think our team know if you want to catch up with me or yourself or come into the office. Come in at 9:30, and until lunchtime, we will be there. We're there the whole time across the morning period. If you need help, support, training, guidance, come in. Come and sit with us. You'll find us in our Rise Tower. You will find us. We'll make time to have a coffee. And in the morning, there's a nice vibe in the office. In the afternoon, it's quiet, as it should be.
Yeah, it's the right way around.
If you're in the office in the afternoon, something's gone wrong.
You're with me. I'm still there.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's really, really important that I'm there all day. And that was one of the things that when I came on board, it was really important that there was always a presence in the office that people could get help if they need it. Yeah. So it's not a case of they can only come in the morning and speak to us. We are there for them as much as we can do. The support team is there for them as much as we can do.
Right.
So, Nath, since you have become a partner in the business, you have been blessed with a beautiful little daughter, and you are now a dad.
I am.
Congratulations, first of all. It works. Do you think that our company has affected your home life? Do you think the fact that you now have the freedom to bounce in and bounce out whenever you like, and I'm asking you that as a company owner, but I'm also asking you, if you were a broker, with a newborn at home, do you think that our model allows you to have a happier home life?
100% yes. I mean, 4 of our brokers have got children the same age as my daughter.
Okay.
Because, you always have those conversations in the office and whatnot. And I think it's really, really important that they can run their lives. And they have nannies, and they have a better financial life, of course, but they can go out to the school. It's World Book Day today. I'm spending the afternoon with my son, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And also, I remember when I was helping run a previous company, I would get calls 24/7, whereas we have a more mature, respectful group. So if they do have something, it's always, I'm really sorry to bother you. I know you're with your family. It's super respectful. And if it can wait, it does wait. You're not getting a call at 9 p.m. because somebody needs the bank account details.
Yeah.
We've set the company up so that they are as self-sufficient as possible, but they know they can reach out if it's important.
That's nice to hear.
And I think that's really important. We've got a very sensible, loving culture in that regard.
Yeah. Mark, similar question to yourself, obviously. You worked for me in previous companies, and you now work with me as a business partner. Do you think that your home life and the freedom to come and go and the style of our agency, do you think that's been conducive towards a happier home life?
Absolutely. Back in the day, I felt guilty about wanting to go to my son's swimming gala.
Yeah.
Whereas now, when he says, "Daddy, will you be there?" Absolutely, I'll be there. What time is it?
Yeah.
So all those elements, it's really, really important to have the flexibility, because I know that I'm going to be working into the evening at weekends and this and that and the other to make the company successful and to continue to grow. But also as a broker, when I work along those lines as well, I know I'm going to need to have a Zoom call with a client sometimes at 9 p.m. because they might be over in America or something like that. So to have that freedom and flexibility is vital.
Yeah.
So you get the real work-life balance in life. So it's very, very important.
I think we employ an older caliber of broker as well. Not most, half of our brokers at least have got kids. It's not a super young sort of dynamic. So
speak for yourself.
The greys are coming through. But I would echo that. I mean, I think just the ability that you, as a broker, you don't have to just turn up to the office. If you want to take your little one to school, fine. If you want to bounce out to the gym at 10 a.m. because you were working with your client last night up until 9, 10 o'clock, then go to the gym.
Absolutely.
Cruise in at lunchtime.
Yeah.
It's fine. No, it's nice to hear that, because that was one of the founding principles of why we set the company up.
It was, yes, absolutely.
It wasn't just about earning more money.
Well, let's face it, we were ourselves frustrated brokers, wanting to break the model.
Yeah.
So the fact that when I was a broker before, I had all of those elements of what I found frustrating, and I wanted to stick them in the bin.
Yeah.
And I did.
Well, you did, yeah.
So not only did I want a company that was going to give me 80%, couldn't find one, so I thought, okay, let's do our own.
Let's build one. Yeah.
But also to actually have that flexibility, have the open door policy that we have with everybody who works with us. We don't have a closed door because brokers are backing themselves. So there's never a position where a broker comes to us and says, oh, can we do this or can we do that? It's very, very rare we've ever said no.
You guys are still obviously occasionally brokering deals. That again is another, and having kids, and we're doing exactly what and taking exactly what you're paying for your advertisements. We're doing everything that our teams are doing. Yeah. We're in with them.
We practice what we preach.
We're not sat in an ivory tower and counting money. It's part of our culture that we're all together in this. And I think that makes us really, really unique in the marketplace.
It does, because even myself and Myles, when we do deals, we still do it on the 80-20 model. Yeah. We don't go and, like some company owners who broker their own deals, take 100%. No, we invest in our own company as well.
We pay towards our marketing spend and we take 80%. We practice what we preach.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Myles, what was your proudest moment of the last year?
That's a big question. My proudest moment of the last 12 months. I've got one really, I wouldn't say it's my most proud, but I've got my happiest work-related thought across the last 12 months was with MJ.
Oh, yes.
And she's been working with me for 10 years. It was her 10-year anniversary. And I said to her, come on, I'm taking you out for lunch. And she said, where are we going? And I said, I've booked a nice table at the Burj Al Arab. And I don't think she'd never been to the Burj for lunch. And we hopped in my car. We went across to the Burj Al Arab. We had a lovely, lovely lunch. And I gave her a large bonus to say thank you for the 10 years. And she was very emotional about it. And we spoke about everything other than real estate.
Brilliant.
And we sort of got to know each other a bit more as people. And I think that would probably be the nicest memory that I've got over the last. But I'm so proud with all of it, how the company's gone. I knew it would be a success. So to be sitting here now is it's cool. It's really cool.
It really is.
What about you? Same question back to you.
I have to say is the last 12 months is to see one particular broker come from a high street model, get given a desk and a computer and basically told to make money, but not even given any guidance as to how to do it, or to how to structure deals, or how to increase the revenue per deal. All of those elements that I was able to do for her and guide her has turned her earning. In 2023, she earned 340,000 dirhams on a 50-50 model. With us last year, she earned 1.4 million.
I love that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you've really helped her.
But the point with that, she listened. Yeah. So I didn't do that for her.
No, you did. Your knowledge and your support and your help and your guidance, you're a massive part in her.
But only to guide. Because she did the graphs, she did the work, I showed her the way, and she listened.
Lovely answer.
Me?
Same question. You knew what was coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And mine isn't one person, because I'm in a very, very fortunate position, obviously only just joining this illustrious triangle, as it were.
An illustrious
triangle of terror.
Wow, look at that.
Illustrious triangle. So, pride, in terms of being able to say I own part of Phoenix Homes, that for me is huge pride. But on a day-to-day level, obviously, I spend, at least twice a week I see and speak to and help and guide and mentor that a few of the team or all of the team. And to watch a lot of them last year, and I've mentioned it before today, watch a lot of them buying their own properties, buying new cars. You mentioned the cars for them to come up to me with, look at my new car. They've advanced their lives so much under our umbrella. And if I've helped 1% of that, they've done the 99%, like you said with the previous answer, then how can you not get pride from that? That is the best thing in the universe, to watch people succeed.
Giving back.
Watch them succeed and just keep going and going and going, and they'll continue to do that. And what will happen is they'll come to us for more, and they'll do even better.
Yeah. Well, look, I think we've told the audience enough.
Yes.
I think people will have found this interesting. I hope they found it interesting. And it just goes to show that we have done exactly what we set out to do.
We have. We delivered.
So far.
Touch wood. 4 years in the making, we have now got a very successful, profitable, and professional.
Happy.
And happy, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a really happy company. People making money and just a good work-life balance.
The most important thing.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No, all good.
Very happy.
Happy? Happy. Here's to the next 12 months then, yeah?
Absolutely. Cheers to that.
Cheers.